Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pick City Podcast. We're 4 weeks in, Alexander, a month into the NFL season, almost a quarter of the way through. We know we got 18 weeks, not 17 or 16 anymore, but basically a fourth of the way through the NFL season. And I'm not sure if we see these teams more clearly or less clearly. Anything you want to discuss non-football related in our minute intro here, Alexander? Because I ain't got nothing.
Non-football? I mean, is
Yeah.
refs dictating games considered non-football?
Dude, I
I
mean,
mean,
if
this
that's what you
league
want.
is so soft now. The taunting whole issue's a different story. The random, how certain times it's an OPI, certain times it's not. And then I would argue the ones that don't get called are worse than a lot of the ones that do get called. DPI, it's not consistent. It's bad. Just the random missed calls on certain, or the calls that certain people get that certain ones don't in the same situations. It's just bad across the board. And I really think it needs to get looked into. I get a lot of that stuff is judgment, but it seems like this year is just worse. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because random taunting stuff's just making it feel worse or what, but it just feels bad.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not just primetime games; it's across the board. And
Yeah.
as someone who, thankfully, we have a good friendship, and we get to watch a lot of, at least most of the 1 o'clock slate together. It's questionable calls across the board. But I want to make it very clear, Raj, if you're listening to this, I got your back. I think you're doing an awesome job with the league. So I want to let you know I'm a huge supporter, and I will wear the shield proudly. Just if one of us has to go against, one of us has to support. Because no. All right. Yeah, but in all seriousness, it does stink when that happens. Especially you see how some of these games, there's these crazy comebacks or late game heroics, and it's
Random drives continue because of a intentional grounding not called.
And so yeah, we had ties this week. We had not as many block kicks, but still some special teams plays, some block punts, a little bit of everything. Not as crazy to me as last week. Last week was actually kind of really fun. This week was really up and down, a lot of weird stuff. Some huge losses. We do not have a ton of categories here, Alexander, but I'll just give a few disclaimers as we get into some of these games. So we're going to rewind in time. We're going to go all the way back to Thursday night. We were thinking about doing these Monday night games we just watched. It is actually after the Monday night game. So you'll be getting this bright and early. Thanks to Jimmy, who's going to be staying up late tonight getting this out. So appreciate you, dog. Yeah, put something funny on here. I don't know, dude. Whatever. We're not very funny. All right, Alexander. On Thursday night, we had the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. Again, this was that same game where for about 3 quarters, it felt like Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison had never even thrown dry routes to each other. It was just awful. I think you could argue that Marv was responsible for both interceptions. For sure, one, probably a factor for the other one as well. And then the fourth quarter comes and they start marching back a little. The Seahawks don't put them away. It becomes a game. And they tie the game up, and then they decide to not kick it into the landing zone and give the Seahawks a short field to kick a field goal to win. So
didn't they kick it out of bounds? It wasn't even not even in the landing zone. Wasn't that the one that was out of bounds?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just it was short of the landing zone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost positive because my dad was like, "Wait, that's the thing." I'm like, "Yeah, it changed last year, and it's just a weird It's actually good for the league, but it's kind of I'll admit it. I dropped a John Casey Super Bowl reference. Sue me, Panthers fans. So yeah, that was Thursday night. Do you feel differently about either of these teams after that game? I only have one takeaway, but I'll let you. As the Seahawks did win 23-20, if I did not.
Not really. I mean, we kind of discussed it, what the matchup was going to look like anyways, just with it being that division and just how they always play each other. It always somehow magically ends up being super close, and just last second type stuff wins the game. I don't know, is it part of their division policy? If you get up, you got to let the other people back in. That's part of what this division is. We need a close game. You're required to let them back in, but you can still win.
Yeah. I don't have the NFC West guidelines, I'll be honest, but it is weird how I feel like their games are always from 9 to 25 and never more than 5 away from each other. So maybe let's remember that next time, because I'm pretty sure Thursday night is they have a partnership with the NFC West at this point. I think that's pretty much how it is. So yeah. I wish I could say I'm done with the Cardinals, but we'll get to that in the preview. They're just very volatile, and I hate when you see Kyler seem good and not. But Alexander, speaking of a team that I'm also done with being wrong about, We head to Sunday morning, bright and early. Admittedly, this is the game I watched the absolute least of because I literally wasn't watching it. I know you were tuned in for a little of it, or most of it at least. I know morning time, whatever was happening. Again, stop with the 9:30 East Coast games. It's stupid. But regardless, the Steelers end up only winning by a field goal, but kind of dominated the Vikings, it seemed like. I'm going to let you talk about this one a little more as we both were on the wrong side of this. But I'm done being wrong about the Steelers. They're obviously better than I think. I still don't think they're good, but I guess they're good enough. And shouts out Kenneth Gainwell getting the spot start and just winning people leagues or probably making people mad on their bench.
Yeah, it was like the Steelers defense showed up at the first part. I mean, they played well throughout, but they let them back in a way at the end. I mean, part of that's like what the coach is calling, like you're just not giving up big plays, like you're giving up the underneath stuff, like trying to contain them more or less, make them burn clock. And then, but like first half defense looked good. Looked like Minnesota couldn't get out of their own way, get anything going. I mean, they were not playing like turnover ball, but they just weren't executing either. And then the second half, like it looked like it was just going to be over. And then they kind of just kept letting them hang around and Minnesota fought back, made it a game. And at one point I thought they were going to win and then they just couldn't capitalize. Like, I don't know. But
yeah,
I feel like
I did get the last part of the game, and something else I need to stop believing in is Carson Wentz has the ball with a chance for a game-winning drive, and I'm fully like, oh, this is going to happen.
yeah, like both of these teams, like they feel very similar to me. Their defenses are going to keep them in the games. It's just, can their offense do enough to win those games? Which isn't a bad spot to be in when you look across the league and there's multiple teams that their offense might look really great, but their defense is awful. Or there's a lot of them where their offenses ain't figured it out yet. So if your defense is clicking, it can shut down a offense that ain't got it figured out. It gives you a fighting chance. And that's what they're going to have every given week, which is going to make it tough picking for either one of these teams, because most likely their lines are probably going to be like basically toss-up type lines every matchup they have.
Against everyone.
Yeah, and that's what's going to make it tough when you have to pick those games. Other than that, like my other takeaway would be if you're Minnesota, I don't know what you do. Like, how hurt is JJ? Like, I don't think I would rush him back at this point. Like, yes,
Well, I think
I don't think
he's as hurt as
Wentz hasn't done enough to win the job outright, but he also hasn't done enough to lose it. And what I've seen out of Wentz looked better than what I was seeing out of Jay.
That's true, but also like he's still going to at least have a few more games. So I think by the time JJ could be quote unquote healed or not, I'm not saying he's not hurt, but like if Wentz is playing well, he'll keep playing. But if not, it's easy to switch back. Also, I understand being around the team is good and getting in the rhythm of a schedule is good and all that. I just assume since they had 2 overseas games and then they have a bye week after that, right? Like, wouldn't you think that he would have been staying home with his kid they just had? No, he's traveling with the team. It's very confusing, but I guess they just want him involved in all the game day and game plan stuff. But that's weird to me. Let me ask you 2 questions on this. And I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but these are 2 teams that are fringe playoff teams to a lot of people, and so they get a little more time than the others. Alexander, 2 questions for. Well, also I want to give a shout out to Peyton Wilson. That rundown of Addison was just ultimate hustle, impressive. 2 questions for you. Are the Steelers making the playoffs?
At this point, I would say yeah.
Okay, are the Steelers winning the AFC North?
How serious is Lamar's injury?
Okay, we'll get to the Ravens here in a little bit. All right, moving on to, I'm going to go ahead and call this, Alexander. The worst plane ride of the day. Shouts out Chris Long. That's one of their categories. But the worst just experience is the Chargers. 6-point favorites on the road going to New York. Not only do they lose to the Giants and Jackson Dart in his first game. Yeah, their defense wasn't like amazing, but they scored 18 points against a Giants defense that is abysmal. Not only the Giants, they lost their best player. OBJ is calling out the field. Neighbors is done for the year. Already another bad injury in his career. And the Giants, they won Jackson Dart's first start. And the Chargers were thinking this division is ours. We have a chance if the Chiefs would lose. They didn't. But to take a 3-game lead on the defending Super Bowl appearing AFC team, and the Chargers, you said it in the moment, you said we knew this was coming. Like, they're going to Charger. I didn't think that they were going to lose this game outright. I love Herbert. He made the throw last week. Everybody started to buy in. Even the haters like, I guess this is what people say about him. It's like they had no flow at all. And then what's crazy is we were complaining the first 3 weeks, hey, yeah, the passing looks good, but get Hampton involved. Hampton looked great. He had numerous big plays. I thought he was going to have a huge payday for me, but he was awesome. They have a triple-headed monster receiver, and one of the guys can't get the ball. I know you're frustrated at him and, our main fantasy league you traded for him, but this game was miserable to me because it was just like, this is one the Chargers are going to win. They're like, oh, thank goodness we won. And they just couldn't do it. It's not like the Giants blew them out. This game was very frustrating. And I mean, take over for this game. But my overarching theme I'm trying to answer, and you maybe can answer in your recap of it, like, does this give me way more pause to actually trust in the Chargers? Because I wish it scared me more.
Yeah, my takeaway is like, if you're the Chargers, this isn't a game you had any right losing. But on top of that, though, you basically did everything, like got everybody involved in your offense and got them going, besides the guy that last year was the main key piece of your offense. Like, when is it going to be a question of maybe we need to get him going as well? Because it's like, it almost seemed like there was key moments where they just couldn't get him going. And maybe I'm not watching the full film. Like, maybe defense are just taking him out. And they're like, we're going to make up to this point. Maybe they're like, we're making Q beat us. Like, the dude has a history of just dropping the ball randomly. Maybe we're banking on that in one-on-one coverage. I mean, maybe a lot of people didn't think Keenan still had it. Maybe all that changes. But to me, like, if I'm the Chargers, you have to get Ladd more involved if you're going to make a run. Like, that's not just me talking from a person that has some fantasy. That's just me talking like, he's one of your best players on the field. Like, he has to have a role if you're going to do anything. And then my other takeaway is we were fooled. We forgot. We forgot how it works in the AFC West. There's a rule. And that rule is the Chargers are always going to Charger.
Wow.
The Broncos are always going to lose divisional matchups. And then the Chiefs they just own the division. They're going to find ways to win the division, and it might not be pretty, but they're going to find a way just because that's just what they do. They're winners. And then the Raiders are the Raiders. Like, as much as like some people thought they were going to be better, I do think they're a little bit better, but they still have their moments and they're just nowhere near the other three. But the other three, like, there's a written rule and we forgot it. We thought the Chargers had changed, and that's on us. We fell for it. They get me every year, I feel like, at this point. They get me to buy in, and then they just do this every single time. And it just makes no sense.
And I have that problem too. And I'll be honest, I don't have to say this. I literally could have said, let's move on and attack the next game. So this is how bad my problem is and how deeply rooted it is. I literally don't even have to say what I'm about to say. Chargers are still winning this division. Okay?
Sure.
I just want to make that clear. All right. This is a wake-up call they need. This is how you're going to know that they're not the Chargers of old, because this is going to like bounce them back around and they're like, okay, we can't do that anymore. No time off. It's the NFL, dude. Teams don't always play great against bad teams. And that was the case in this one through 2.5, 3 quarters, as the Bills at home, 15.5-point favorites against the Saints. They win by 12. They don't cover. Doesn't really matter. That's why we stayed away from it. Tons of points. But they just kind of have this attitude similar kind of to the Eagles in the mid part of last year, I felt like, where it was like teams that just saw, they're like, wait, why don't they win by much? It's like, because they were just up and we're just running the ball and taking care of it. Like, when last year the Eagles are just rolling, it was like, yeah, they don't really need to do anything else. The Bills have that same feel to me, as far as I never even begin to question, like, wait, are they going to not win this game? It's just like, all right, enough's enough. Like, put them away. That's just how I feel with this Bills team. They believe in themselves as much as anybody. They're 4-0. They're not clicking on all cylinders. Shakir got more involved this game. Their defense still has to be better. They got to get healthier. I think they still need to make a trade, add some more pressure up front. But this is a contending team. This is, with how the Ravens have fallen off, I think this is clearly the best team in the AFC right now. The most complete team. They have the best quarterback in the league right now. Sorry, I'm not saying, we're not debating legacy here, but right now, there's no way you would say you'd rather have Mahomes on your team than Josh Allen. Maybe you would. You can hate on me. That's fine. But he's at least number 2. And I just think the Saints showed a little fight here. Kellen Moore tried his best. Tried to do a NOLA special, and by that I mean Chris Olave threw the ball about 7 yards, and somehow they made a crazy interception. Yeah, I think this is just more of the same from the Bills, and they're just going to keep rolling. And their schedule, they're not losing many games this year. They wouldn't even be tested much.
I'm gonna be honest. You said a lot of stuff, and I didn't agree with it at all.
Okay, good. That's what this is, bro.
This
Tell
was
me what-
not like a game that felt like the Bills just had control the whole entire time. This game literally had a chance for the Saints to take the lead. You had Cooks drop it. Like, if you would have called that, they got the lead. You had the special play where, why are you pulling that out in that moment? Like, you're getting cute. If you don't get cute and you just score there where you're in position to score, you take the lead against Buffalo. When they didn't take the lead, they turned the ball over. That's where it kind of changed. But if the Saints score there, there's a high possibility Buffalo loses to the Saints. Would you still be feeling the same way about Buffalo? Like, that
If
was
they
a
lost?
scary game to me if I'm a Buffalo fan. Like, what were we doing? Like, we just let a Saints team that had no right coming in here. And the Saints had a high chance of winning that game if they just, I wouldn't even say them. It's literally, we've talked about it for years. Kellen Moore just randomly has those moments where he's like, I want to do something cool. Let's do it. And it bites him in the butt almost every time he does it. But it's the chance that it hits is what just draws him in. He's just addicted to it. Like, and it bit him in the butt this time. But
I agree with you on the Kellen Moore part, but again, hypothetical. If they lose the game, I feel differently. I just feel like they felt like, I'm not saying that they controlled and dominated this game. I'm saying they have the same feel of like, yeah, we're going to win. Maybe there was a split second. They're like, hey, come on, wake up. What are we doing? The Bills, only times they don't perform extremely well is when they're a huge favorite at home. Like, you want to talk about not respecting your opponent? They had no fear or concern about the Saints with Spencer Rattler at all.
Rattler just ran all over him, it looked like. Granted, a lot of it kept getting called back, but he was still running at will on him.
I think the defense has got to improve. This game doesn't concern me at all. And we got to start looking ahead to see when the Saints are going to get their first win.
It's got to be coming soon. I feel like it is. That team just fights too much. I mean, granted, they probably, I would almost make an argument they can beat 2 of their division teams, if not all 3 of them on any given Sunday, with just the way that division seems at times. And that's more of like, I don't trust Atlanta. I don't trust Carolina. And then Tampa has this tendency when they play the division, they just kind of play down to them. Like, I don't know what it is. Yeah, specifically the Falcons, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a bad point. All right, Alexander, we're going to go to another huge home favorite here, and that is Detroit, coming off of just an absolute showcase of ability against the Ravens, running it down their throat. They then get to face another AFC North team in the Browns. And this is a game where people started talking before, like, you know, the narrative was starting to happen of, hey, man, this Browns defense, like, might actually be really good. And then if they are really good, well, how much can they sustain being on the field the entire game because their offense is so bad? And I think we found out what happened whenever they face a powerhouse. Lions win 34-10. We've said it for 2 weeks now. Flacco, the experiment's done. It's over. He's targeting Fannin, Njoku, the whole crew. Tillman, bad injury. This Browns offense, when you think Cleveland Browns, you could have, besides the Baker year, and they decided to get rid of him. This might be the only team where if you talk to, for example, my dad isn't like super into the NFL right now. He supports me and, you know, certain teams. But if you ask him how the Browns are, he could be thinking about 12 years ago, 18 years ago, 20 years, and he'd have the same thoughts and he'd be exactly right. They're a bottom feeder team who's absolutely horrible, no clear direction, an awful franchise, despicable in every way. But they have some talented players, and Myles Garrett's a beast. That's it for the Browns. And then the Lions keep rolling. Yeah, shouts out to the Lions. They just beat teams up. We'll get to the Lions effect here in a minute when we talk about another game. But when they play you, you're not winning the next game, and you're definitely not covering. And so I know the Browns are bad anyways, but they're going to be even more beat up for their next game.
Yeah, the takeaway of that game to me was I might have to start looking into this. And it's the Browns to cover in the first half. Like, I need to see what they actually set it at. Because the Browns in the first half, they make the game close. It's tight. It's hard fought. They're in the game. And then it just unravels in the second half. And it unravels because the defense gets wore down. And like you said, it comes down to the offense not doing enough to help them. And who knows, like, if they do move Flacco out, you get a young guy in there, maybe it changes. I don't know. Me personally, I don't think Dylan Gabriel's it. I would think Shador would give him a better chance, and that might just be me having a wild opinion because I know a lot of people don't like Shador. But me personally, I think Shador is better, and I think he would do good for him. But that's just my opinion. But
I'll jump in really quickly. I agree. I think he's better, but I don't think he'd do good for them. I think it'd be a horrible situation for him because of how bad they are overall.
yeah, but that's what he wanted. That's why he turned down going to other teams in the draft because he wanted to be in a situation where he could start right away and show himself.
He's not starting right away, though.
Yeah. Instead, he's basically getting like cast to the side.
You just Orlovsky that. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Chris Jones. All right. Anything else on that? Sorry, I kind of hopped in on your Shador take.
No.
Okay. All right. Next game, Alexander. We're going to go to the only shutout of the weekend. And that was the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans. And when I said Houston Texans, you might have thought, oh my gosh, they didn't even score this week. No, luckily for them, they played the Titans, who, as bad as the Browns offense is, this is the worst offense in football. Now, they did play the Texans, who are a really good defense. This Titans team, they're making me question how coordinators and people, obviously everyone on the Titans is far better at anything than I'll be. Respectfully, they make me question how people have positions in the NFL with how their game plan, their script, their play calling, everything about this team is absolutely horrendous. And good for the Texans. They got to win. I did tell you they're going to win this, and then their odds would change. They didn't even change that much. That's how much they already knew where they're winning this. Texans win Titans. I guess maybe you get a top of the line offensive lineman to protect Cam Ward because you're going to have an early pick. I hope everyone took the Titans under. We're going to sell to that.
What was the under in this game, by the way?
Oh, for the entire game?
Yeah.
I think like 35 and I don't know. 36 and a half.
Because this was one, like, I felt like the under had a very high chance of hitting, but I didn't know what the under was. But that was just because the Texans' defense has been really good, and then their offense just hasn't scored a lot. And this was the case of their defense was really good, and yes, they hung 26, but their offense didn't look that great at times. Luckily, they might have figured something out, though. Like, they started getting Marks involved. That might open up their offense. That might be what they need. Like, yes, Chubb can run between the tackles, but he's looked a step slow. He isn't the Chubb of old. And that's where put Marks in, have Chubb come in every now and then. Don't make him the bell back, because Chubb at this point this year, coming off of his injury and stuff, like, he doesn't need to be the work back. He needs to just have like a kind of bruiser role. Let Marks be the bell guy, the young guy, the change of speed. Like, let him flash that speed, his elusiveness. Like, he can catch the ball. It, to me, will open up their offense more. And hopefully they figured that out, and they do roll with that going forward for them.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that could change their offense completely. We've been saying their defense has been great to this point. They just need an offense to help them, and they probably would be sitting way different record-wise.
Well, and again, Alexander, they had the one stop against the Bucs in a 2-minute drill, and they're 2-2, and we feel differently about them. Like, so they've been competitive against good teams. However, I think that the counter to all of this is they played the Titans. So, like, I don't know, you play who you play, but I'm not like bought back into the Texans. But I agree with you everything you said about Marks. You can't be a good football team, a good offense, if you can't run the ball. And they can't run the ball. They're not going to be very good. And their line's not very good either. And their line wasn't great last year pass blocking, but Joe Mixon was great. And maybe down the road, Joe Mixon comes in and provides a little more help to your running back room. I don't know.
Is Joe Mixon coming back this year?
Yeah, he'll come back.
I don't think he is. But besides
that seems like a bold take. Yeah.
I really don't think he's playing this year. If he does, it'd be playoffs. Like, I legit don't think he plays a regular season game this year.
Okay, I think he does. Put it on the board.
But like, games like this is where you, like, as a team that has playoff aspirations, to me, you got to go in, kind of dominate it like this. But like, when you came in and your offense wasn't fully clicking, these are the type of games where figure it out. Like, use this as like basically a scrimmage, more or less. Like, that sounds like you're disrespecting the other team, but
they deserve to be disrespected.
It's a matchup where you feel like you should win. You got to then use that as an opportunity to figure something out. And it seems like they did. They figured out Woody Marks. We'll see if it translates. Maybe it won't. Maybe it's just the fact they're playing the Titans. I don't know. But hopefully they realize something there and it helps them moving forward. And that's where, like, I mean, we'll get to Green Bay later, but I would almost argue like the Cleveland game shook them. Like, that should have been a game where, yes, it was going to be tough in the first half. The second half, you've wore them down, you take over, you walk out of there. But instead, they let them hang around, and then it kind of looked like it just rattled their defense. But, I mean, we'll get to Green Bay later. But, yeah, that's my only takes on that.
Okay, so this is changing the guard. So now you are going to lead off on these games, and we'll start with the Washington-Atlanta game. So on you, brother.
All right. You had Washington going into Atlanta. Washington, at the time we did it, I don't know if the line changed or not, but when we set our picks and everything, the line was Washington 1.5. Scary Terry ends up getting ruled out. Jaden Daniels ends up getting ruled out. But if you're Washington, and final score ended up being Washington 27, Atlanta 34. So Washington lost to Atlanta, a team that literally hung a goose egg against Carolina the week before. A Atlanta team that their offense at times looks like if Bijan's not on the field, they can't do anything because you just got to shut down London. And you let them come in there and hang 34 on you. Or they hung 34 in their home stadium. But either way, like, if you're Washington and you're a playoff team, I get you are missing Scary Terry. I get you're missing Jaden Daniels. But we saw what you did last week without Jaden Daniels. It was the best your offense had looked all year. So you can't use that excuse.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you basically made a Atlanta offense that has looked mediocre to this point look really good. They were basically able to do whatever they wanted. Like, to me, if you're Washington, I'm walking away wondering, like, what are we going to do? Like, our defense can't play like this the rest of the year if we want to make the playoffs. And if you're Washington fans and you think you can win the division, you can't win the division with your defense looking like that. Like, that's got to change. Like, that was a piss poor performance. And I think that game was more about Washington than it was about Atlanta, because I don't think this Atlanta team, and all Atlanta fans will probably hate me for this, but I don't think this Atlanta team is a playoff team.
I had them, again, preseason picks. I had them first team out. I think they're still kind of right there. The positives for Atlanta, I will say, Washington, I felt the exact same about them all year. The one thing we are going to have to start talking about is Jaden's health. I mean, if he plays next week, then we'll see how he looks. I think it's smart that they're, like, keeping him out. I wonder, though, if they win this, do they kind of just keep playing around like, well, let's just extend it another. Let's extend it another. Or if he genuinely couldn't play, or he just can't be as mobile. Anyways, positives for Atlanta. You mentioned Bijan, London running the offense. Penix looked a little better. Again, weak defense, but he got the ball out quick, got it on time. He's really great at that. We know how quickly he releases. They keep showing that over. I mean, they were getting destroyed by the Panthers, and look how fast he throws the ball. He's throwing those just little slants, his little balls to London. It's just like a London catch. It almost like he catches it like T. Higgins, just high points the ball, and he did look a little better. It's encouraging. If we had not seen London at the end of last year, and this was not an Atlanta team where they didn't really have like a lot of momentum, but some people were buying into them, I think we would be viewing this a lot lighter, where it's like, he's only played what now? 8 games in his career. So like, I think maybe we need to stop rushing these young quarterbacks. And I'm going to be guilty of it. I'm going to say bad things about Penix because he's going to look bad again. Like last week, he was horrible. Dude, it's like his 6th start ever.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's just one factor I realized looking back over this game. This was one I kind of went back to because it felt like this game was the same thing over and over. Washington missing on play after play. I still don't trust Atlanta's defense. I like that they attacked in the draft, but they still don't seem like a team that's going to get after you. And I just don't think they can compete in this loaded supposedly loaded NFC, definitely not with the top teams, but I think they're still like competitive with that middle to lower grouping of the top 8 or 9 teams in the conference. So I was a little more optimistic about Atlanta than I thought I would be after this game.
Okay.
And Bijan's, he's just amazing. Like, I love him so much. He's so freaking good.
My concern would be how much it seems like their offense revolves around Bijan.
I mean, yeah, but it should.
Like, if Bijan was...
Don't say it.
I'm going to say it. If Bijan was to get hurt, what would this Atlanta team look like? Would it be a situation of what we're seeing in Cincinnati where without Joe Burrow, Cincinnati just, their season's basically over?
You mean like they wouldn't make the playoffs?
Well, we're already saying Atlanta's fringe with them.
Well, the Bengals didn't make it with Joe Burrow, so listen, bro, you came at Bijan, I'm coming at Burrow, okay?
If Burrow was playing, I would almost argue there's a good chance they're sitting 3-1 right now, tied for the division,
Okay.
with
You
the
can argue
Ravens
that all you
sitting
want.
1-3.
Listen, I agree that it's a really bad injury. And by the way, for the record, people, I'm not saying, that actually looks really bad looking back. I was not saying about Burrow getting injured. I'm saying last year they made the playoffs. That's crazy. That's going to be a bad clip. Jimmy, help me out. All right.
But
Let's please
all right,
move on.
we'll
Goodness
move
gracious.
on to
That's on me.
a game where we said we're either going to find out which one of these teams is, I guess, better than the other, or maybe they're for real, or maybe neither one of these teams got it. It was just going to be ugly. And that was Carolina versus New England. New England was 5.5-point favorites at home, and New England took it to them. It was 42-13. Carolina scored 6, I think it was, to start, or 7, like immediately. And then New England scored 42 unanswered. Like 42 unanswered on a Carolina team that they had to be like just feeling great coming off of a skunk on a division rival, like had all the momentum coming into this. You score first, you take the lead, you're feeling good, and then the win just got taken out of their cells.
Oh, we hear you, Panthers fans. Multiple. Defense is looking better. It's starting to come on.
They looked like the team that me and you each thought they were.
And the Patriots look like the team I thought they were.
Patriots looked a lot better. It looked like everything was going right. And it's one of those, like I said it earlier on this, of when you play a bad team, use it to figure stuff out. And they started to figure some stuff out. They still haven't figured out which running back they want to be the lead back, but it didn't bite them in the butt this game. The running backs didn't. You didn't have 2 running backs with multiple fumbles. They actually all did their part. So it didn't make that decision look dumb, but Drake May looked really great in this one. And he did what he
Amazing.
needed to do. He was making the right plays, and it showed. They took it to him.
Yeah, it's Drake amazing. Put that on the yeah, long-term thing, I still don't feel differently about the Patriots defense. I still think they played a bad Panthers offense. So I'm not fully drinking the Patriots Kool-Aid any more than I was before. I'm still there. I didn't give up on them. Pats, I got your back. And Drake May he's just creeping up more and more. Not just like box score, but watching him run, throw. Listen, I've heard some Daniel Jones comparisons, and respectfully, at his best, Daniel Jones at his best, playoff game Minnesota, sure. But I'm viewing Drake May the same way people were viewing Daniel Jones early. I am so in on him. He's becoming one of my favorite players. I'm excited to keep watching this Patriots team. I'm a little too attached to him, but it's fine. All right, Alexander, we've waited long. We are going to try to be, or I am. You can take as long as you want, buddy. I'm going to try to be as concise as I can with this one, and that's our birds. They beat the Bucs in Tampa, 197 degrees. A 0 chance the Eagles can beat the Bucs. They've lost the last 9 out of 10. I told every single one of you on this podcast, I said, please, Todd Bowles, blitz Jalen. See what happens. I said, we're going to go in there and just roll over them. And Alexander, at halftime, I've never felt more like a genius. Said, we heard all the Patullo slander. We heard this. Look at this guy. We got shovel passes in the end zone. We got fake tush push. We got everything looks incredible. And then after halftime, every glaring concern about this Eagles offense came to light, and they get the win. And y'all are going to say, well, we're a spoiled fan base. Is one of the only 2 undefeated teams with the Buffalo Bills. Extremely grateful to be 4-0. I think there's a lot of positives about this team. We're making timely turnovers. We're protecting the ball. There's things to be had. This is not a Super Bowl winning team yet, but it still is a Super Bowl winning roster if healthy. I'm not really going to say anything else on this game, Alexander, unless you ask me something. I'm out. Eagles win, 4-0, good. Got to fix a lot of stuff. Got to be more creative. I don't have anything else. I'm mentally drained from thinking about this team.
Yeah, first half looked great, looked amazing. Second half didn't look good at all. It was pathetic. And yes, some of that is probably because Lane got hurt. I think a lot of people don't realize how beat up the offensive line is right now. Dickerson is playing through an injury that he's had to start the season, and statistically, he looks awful. He does not look good, looks nowhere near himself. I think the injury's showing, but the problem is where other people's beat up as well. You can't afford to rest him because you're having to use your depth at other spots. And then at the same time, I think, or with that being said, I think that's part of the issues with the run game. I mean, you got Dickerson, he's not able to do what he does, so he's not getting the push. Then you got Lane, who's beat up, so he ended up leaving that game, so you're not getting a push on that side. So basically, at that point, the run game's kind of done. So then you're having to pass, and you have the weapons, you just don't have the play calling. And it's, to me, getting close to being a concern. And I get it. We're 4-0. Maybe we shouldn't be that concerned. But to me, you touched on it. This is a Super Bowl winning roster type build. And you're putting up numbers on the offensive side that do not represent a team that can win in a playoff game when it matters. It just doesn't look like it's there. The defense looks great. That's great. That's why you're winning these games. That's why you're able to have these bad showings on offense.
And Jalen Hurts. Sorry, I'm not.
But we touched on it earlier with a team like Cleveland. Their defense looks great. And then it comes second half, and where their offense didn't do enough in the first half, they're getting destroyed. If our offense doesn't do enough in the first half in this game, we get destroyed. And to me, that's where it gets concerning. I just want to see something. Like, to me, I don't believe management just went with KP because he was already on the roster. I think they had to have seen something over the years to believe in him. Because with a team that is built to win now, why would you take a chance on a rookie OC who right now currently looks like he doesn't know what he is doing? And is that because he feels like he's got to play it safe? He doesn't want to be the one to make the bad play calls that lose it? But it's starting to get to the point where you're being too safe if that's the case. And you're going to start losing us games because you can't. You're not opening up the offense. You're being too predictable. Like, basically, we saw it in that second half. They knew what our receivers were going to run before they ran the route. They were basically jumping every single route. And it was a piss poor performance. And to me, you might be 4-0, but you need answers. Last year was a rough start. A lot of that was to the defense. It looked really bad to start. But we luckily had an early bye to fix it. You got right over the bye week, came out after that, looked like a completely different team. Your bye is still, I think, like 4 weeks away. I could be wrong about that, but I want to say it's 4. It might be 3. But you still got a bit to go to get to that. And it's just not there right now on the offense. And somebody has to start being held accountable. Because right now, respect to the players, they're not throwing the OC under the bus yet. They all keep randomly coming out. And like Saquon after the game was like, I just got to do better. Like, I'm just not running like I should be and stuff. But like, I get that. You're trying to cover up for the coach. And that's what you want your players to do. But you're starting to see it. We saw it the week before. You had Hurts and AJ after the game kind of make hints like, this is what happens like when you unleash us. You're not holding us back. And then after this game, Jaden came out, did his cryptic tweet, and everybody's like, he doesn't want to be there. That's not it. He wants to be there. He loves being there. He just wants this offense to be what it can be. And right now, it's not that. And he knows with what's out there being put out there right now on the field isn't enough to get them back to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl like they are wanting to do. So something has to be done. And during the middle of the season, I don't know what you can do because it's your OC that's supposed to be sending these calls in. Like, is there a way you can get like I don't know, like, can you bring in like an offensive advisor? Like, is that something you can do? Like someone that can just come in and like suggest like different type of route concepts or look at what he's trying to draw up and be like, look, like this isn't going to work here. Like maybe let's add this and then that would open up that for this. And I don't know. But then it's also like there's certain plays, like when I was looking back at like stuff and a film where there'd be certain pass plays and there's receivers, they're running a route, but it's almost like the receivers are like, yeah, like this route's not going to get open. So I'm not trying on this route. Like the ball's not designed to come to me. The route I'm running is not going to do anything. It's not going to be open with what they're running. So then they're not giving effort. So then you only have like 2 players basically running a route at that point. So then it limits the read. So then you have situations where it's a tight window and it's just, it don't look good right now. something has to be done. That's my rant, and I felt like I needed to get off my chest. I'm happy we're 4-0, but I want changes because I want to be back in the Super Bowl. And right now, the way it looks, we're not.
I'm going to be very, very fast, I promise. Okay, I'm going to give myself 1 minute at most. Yes, you look at the 4 games. There's been 3 times where we started out well, and then we basically, tried to coast. The only time we didn't was last week when we got down, and we just had to start passing. I genuinely think he's just like, I don't want it, because he saw how dominant the team was. He's with them all year. I really do feel like that. He's just like, I'm not going to be the reason. Secondly, they're having offensive line things. That is a real issue in the run game specifically. They got to work cohesively. Saquon, I saw a thing he has based on touches, the least amount of yards per carry. Saquon, who just broke the NFL rushing record. You're going to have a little bit of that. He's had a lot of slips. The A.J. Brown thing, I love A.J. Brown. I want to make this extremely clear. I had to look up the exact verse kind of make sure I had it quoted right. But it's a Bible verse. It's Mark 6:11. And it's basically saying if they're not accepting, it's talking specifically about the gospel and the message. It's like if they're not accepting what you're wanting and what you're doing and what you feel and what you believe, just go away from them and let your life, let your feet, let that be your testimony. It's literally so contradictory. And I'm sure he has to be so upset because we know he's had some mental battles as well, where he's basically saying, hey, nothing I'm going to say is going to be taken correctly or right, that I just want to be involved in whatever it is in life, but specifically in the past game. Like, I don't want it to be a concern. And then it turns to, oh, he's posting these cryptic tweets. And it's like, dude, am I going crazy? He posted a Bible verse about how he's not going to make a big deal. He's going to let his life and the way he carries himself and the way he works be his testimony. And it's getting told the complete opposite way. I feel like I'm going insane. Now, the argument is, well, just don't say it at all. Just don't say anything.
Well,
but that's not AJ. He's never going to not try to help people. And he feels like if anybody's ever in a similar situation in life, how would they handle it? I want them to say, hey, it's your job, it's your work, whatever. Go and let your life speak for itself. Like, no, it's not happy that you're not involved. You want to produce, you want to be a part, but that's not who you are. And I genuinely think that's where his heart is, because then he even says, like, I love all of you. It's like, but yes, they're frustrated. Of course they are. He's a top player at his position. He's not involved. So that is me defending AJ and also giving a little context on the cryptic tweets that everyone's.
Well, it doesn't help that a Philly sports media person literally came out today and said that AJ's cryptic tweet was directed at somebody within the organization, but it's unsaid who it is. So that's where it's like, I get what you're trying to say. Like, you're trying to make it where it ain't. But if that's the case, why is the media coming out, and especially your own media, and stirring it even more?
You mean the same exact media that last year was saying the same things about the same guy and how he hated Jalen Hurts?
That's fair. But that was all led because you had a player come out and basically testify that.
Yeah, and AJ was first year with a passing game, but this is just different, and it's going to happen. There's always going to be storylines. There's always going to be things. You have an offense that sometimes looks incompetent for a superstar team that's 4-0. What's the storyline?
Here's my thing, though. I don't mind the cryptic tweets. Anytime he's ever done the cryptic tweets, they figure out and start listening to him. It's almost like he has to do that to get heard. It's like if he does it without that, they just kind of ignore him.
I think there's one fundamental disagreement we have, and again, we could talk. This is why I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm a liar at the end of the day. There weren't cryptic tweets last year. It was, he was asked what needs to change, and he said passing. Like, there's never been anything where he's like trying to send these secret codes or messages. He's overtly clear that like this needs to get better. He wants to be involved. And he's saying, hey, if they don't want you to be a part of it, like just let the way you work in your life represent it. That's literally what he said. Like, it doesn't mean he's happy. It doesn't mean he's good with it. But it also doesn't mean he's like, hey, nobody will know what this means. Because if that's the case, why saying, like, I don't know. I just think this idea that like Jalen Hurts, I mean, the AJ Brown is some like mastermind of like manipulation is just so disingenuous to the human that he is. Look at everything he does. His life goal is to literally like help kids. He's writing a book. It's to help people not want to off themselves because of the thoughts he like. And we're gonna sit here and just sorry.
I'm coming at him. I think it needs to be said. I think that's the reason he's a leader on the team is because he's willing to say stuff like this.
But like this is where I'm saying he like this is for public consumption of everyone is saying you're not involved in this. How do you handle it? This is his answer to everyone in the public. Hey, let your life, let your work be this of who you really are. I'm sure he and Jalen and they're talking with the team and confronting them face to face.
Oh,
it's not like Kevin Patullo is not like, AJ, you like the game plan? He's like, yeah, man, it's great. And then tweeting, game plan's bad. Like that's what I'm saying. I think that's how it's being perceived. I know you're saying you want him to confront them. I agree. It is. If you think that they're happy, no. Last week, after one of the most miraculous wins, they didn't even seem like they enjoyed life. Like, I love you, AJ Brown. If you ever see this, please just be my friend. And I genuinely support you in everything you do.
Oh, yeah. I love AJ. That isn't where I was going with that at all. Like, if that's how you took it. I was just saying, like, I liked it.
anything
Like, I think he
The only
needs
thing I
to do
disagree with
stuff
you
like
is
that.
you said, but you're saying cryptic tweets is where I'm disagreeing. I don't
Well,
think there's
that's
anything
how they're wording it. Like, it's a cryptic tweet.
correct, because they don't understand it as a Bible verse, because they're in Philadelphia media. They would never think, oh, maybe he's quoting scripture. This must mean he hates his best friend quarterback.
They're not even saying it's directed to Hurts. The media is trying to say it's directed to KP.
It's directed at the situation his life is currently in, because that's the lens in which he's reading scripture is, if you're at work, if you're at your job and you feel like you're not being wanted, you know what you're going to do? You're going to do what you used to do and how you have the job you currently do now. You're going to put your head down, work, let your record, let everything speak for itself, because there's no point in getting into that. Doesn't mean you don't advocate for yourself. Anyways, again, I think I'm going insane. All right, we might have to go through some of these games a little bit. Oh, never mind. We don't have many left anyways. AJ Brown, I love you.
Where do you want to go next?
I'm going to have to cut out this whole part as its own video. Not cut it, but like, Jimmy, everything we just said about the whole, make its own video, okay? Love you, AJ. All right, let's go green right here with the game I almost picked. I wish I would have picked it, but I would have replaced one I got right anyways. And that is, you got the green game?
Yeah, I can read it. You got Jacksonville taking on San Francisco. San Fran was 3.5-point favorites, and the game ended up final score being 26-21. It felt like neither team, like quarterback wise, wanted to win this game. But like my quick thoughts is if Mac Jones doesn't get hurt last week, I fully believe Mac Jones is playing in this game, not Brock Purdy. I don't think Brock Purdy was ready to come back yet. I think he kind of got forced to come back. And I think that you kind of saw it early on. He didn't look like himself. He wasn't making some of the throws he normally makes. He started to get a little bit better as the game went on. And then San Fran gets hit with another injury bug. Like at this point, it might need to be studied, like what they're doing in San Francisco, because I mean, they just lost another receiver and Ricky got hurt. And is it they're just not doing the right stuff to maintain the health up there? Or did they literally make a sacrifice of every other person can get injured but McCaffrey this year? That's what we need for this team. Because that's how it seems. Like, yes, Jacksonville played good. I'm not taking away from that. But I don't think San Fran played the best they could because Brock Purdy wasn't ready to be back yet.
I mean, San Francisco's depleted. Jacksonville looked pretty good. ETN might actually be back. Like, he got a lot of praise from people around camp and things this year that he looked good and explosive. And they were right. I mean, he looks as good as he has. And again, you have the run game. Trevor Lawrence was a little more consistent in this game from what I saw, as far as not really missing, not completely missing open targets. But yeah, it seemed like that game was just the Jags defensive line just pressuring Purdy, and then Purdy halfway escaping, but not really, and then not being able to get the ball to him. They have a decimated receiving core. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is their number one receiver. I don't know if he actually leads in receiving yards, but he probably leads in targets. He is really good. They're very injured. And Alexander, what I was looking at is their bye week is not until week 14.
Good.
And I understand, like, maybe we overemphasize bye week as, the local media of San Francisco. But in general, fans, we think like a bye week is like an automatic reset, everybody's healthy, but it is a very good thing to have when you're injured, especially because it just gives you an extra week to recover and rest and prep. The problem is their depth is hurt. Like, they're not just missing a starter or two. Kittle, Ayuk, we don't know when they're coming back. Like, Trent Williams, I don't know what Trent Williams is going to be. I don't know if you can depend on him for the full year.
Isn't Nick Bosa hurt?
Yeah, he's on IR, so he's out at least another 3 weeks.
Didn't Jawan Jennings come back, but he's been banged up on and off the year?
Dude, did you see? Yeah, you remember the tackle where he just got sandwiched in the end zone? I think it's just a bad or a byproduct of like aged veterans, and they've played a lot and bad luck. Like, it's a combination of everything. I'm not like blaming Shanahan, but Yeah, I'm starting to lose a little more faith in the 49ers. I mean, they were still competitive in this. Fred Warner's an absolute monster. Their defense is still not bad, but I like the Jags. I think, the Jags, we're going to talk about the other team in that division that we're really interested in our next game, but I think the Jags they're going to be competitive this year throughout the season.
Yeah. What are your, just real quick, just because you said Fred Warner, like, what are your take on when they're doing a QB knee, just jumping over the line and trying to tackle the quarterback?
I mean, do everything you can within the rules of the game and then maybe a little more than that. Like, I don't, if they were playing for a different team and it was a different person and I would be like, oh, I mean, they're just trying to win. It's going crazy. But I mean, there has to be some frustration. Like, hey, man, we can only do so much. Like, come on.
Like, it's where I'm like in between because like I love when Jalen Carter like dives under the center to try to catch it, but I don't like just going over the line and just trying to make a hit on the quarterback. Like that's where it's
Are you
weird.
saying it
Like
should be like a gentleman's agreement where it's like if we're needing, like you just
I think if you're willing to jump over the line and do that, like the offense has all right, like when you're up in the air, just laying you out and then they can just beat the crap out of you on the football field.
interesting. So do you think he shouldn't be allowed to jump over him?
I just think you kind of touched on it's like a gentleman's agreement, but like it
I'm
just
just saying you
seems
started off this
very.
pod in NFL soft. Now you're saying that they need to let them need the ball to win the game.
No, I'm saying like if they're willing to jump over like that, like let the offense just beat the crap out of him. Like let's have a fight after the end of the
What are
game.
you gonna do? You're gonna like tackle him before he gets his knee down, so then it's a fumble or something?
That's what I'm saying. Realistically, doing that, all you're trying to do is just hit him late, just
Maybe
to
you're
hit
trying to
him.
like freak him out, like he just goes to the knee, sees the guy flying, he like gets scared.
That ain't going.
Well, what's the goal then?
The goal is just to hit him late, to be dirty. It's a cheap play. There,
I
said
said it's
it.
in the rules of the game, then a little something. So you're calling Fred Warner dirty? Is that what I'm
Yes.
hearing? Say it to his face. All right. And speaking of this division where my Jags took on the 49ers, your Colts took on the Rams. Another correct pick from me because it was Sunday and it wasn't prime time. I have
Yeah.
50.
You got it right, buddy. Good job. Hook'em helps you win that. Stupid.
Yeah.
Bro. So stupid.
There were some boneheaded plays from the Colts. You got to think that there's something going on there. We saw Jonathan Taylor do something very similar last year, where he's wide open, drops the ball before he goes in. And that's Adonai or AD, I guess is what he's going out. Mitchell, honestly, insane play, and he just dropped it. Like he just terrible safety. Some people hate that rule. I think just don't drop the ball going to the end zone. Like
I don't understand why he dropped it. It makes no sense. He was trying to readjust it, but for what reason?
Listen, Jonathan Taylor, like you can drop it behind you too early or something. At least then, but like just don't. He dropped. I've never seen that. He dropped it in front of him. That was crazy.
It legit looked like he was trying to switch hands, and then just this hand stopped working, and the ball just.
And then how does the ball go? I mean, the end zone is 10 yards. Like the ball bounced. I mean, that's when you felt like the game was over. But get credit to the Colts. They still fought.
I would argue, like I'm impressed with what I saw out of the Colts.
Yeah, I'll throw it to you. I don't have much. You mentioned throughout the game Puka was open. He was in the locker room and then was making a 40-yard catch. That's the most correct thing that's ever been said. Is just he's out of the game, but then comes in and makes big plays. He's going to lead the NFL in catches, probably reception. Sorry,
it needs to be checked out. How can he leave a game so much injured and come back? At a certain point, this dude legit has a head injury. He's just master cheating the system. He's probably going to die on the field because he's had too many concussions. That's never been reported.
Jimmy, cut that. Goodell, I would never. No, protect the players. Thanks, Raj.
They're not protecting the player. I guarantee this dude's had multiple concussions. He's just found a way to cheat the concussion system.
Kind of goes against the soft theory. But anyways, the Rams look like. Sometimes I'm like, how are they not blowing this team out? And they can't. The Rams do not blow teams out. They're impossible.
No, but it looks unstoppable with Puka at times. Like, it's insane.
I agree. But the difference, and it's your boy, and I'm going to let you talk about fully this game because it's a game you're more invested in multiple ways. They just don't have the touchdown scoring ability near the red zone with Kyron anymore. Like the past couple years.
They don't use them. They want to use Corum.
But they don't even just hand it to him. I don't know. It's a weird thing that the Rams, they're going to average like 27 points a game and win most of their games by giving up 24 or less. Verse was awesome in this game. He's a game wrecker. And so I'm going to let you talk Rams Colts because not go Rams, but like in this game, go Rams.
This was a game. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I wish I was wrong. I told you, I wish the Colts would have won.
This was a game where my opinion on either one of these teams did not change. I think both of these teams are good teams, borderline great. Like they're still got a little bit to go, but it's there. The possibility of that is there. These are playoff teams, and like you spoke on it with the Rams, they have to figure out the red zone part if you're the Rams. Last year you had Kyron and you could just do what you wanted with them in the red zone. This year you're not using him as much in the red zone. You've mixed in Corum, which I like that, get him involved. But if
Isn't that what Adam
Kyron worked so much, that's the thing. I don't know. Are they thinking like we need to pass more because Adams is here? So then they've just changed their whole philosophy.
But then they can still run later, maybe? Like it makes you two-dimensional? I don't know.
But then on the offensive side, like they've shown it. Like that game, they could run when they wanted to run. When they needed a pass, Puka's basically open anytime he's on the field, it seems like. Like I need KP to study what the heck McVay and the Rams are doing on offense, because they know how to scheme this guy open almost every single play, it seems like. And it's impressive. And then they got Adams going a little bit. Like they just look like they were clicking. And then the Colts, with saying all that, the Colts hung around. The Colts easily could be saying we won this game if AD doesn't drop the ball, give them a safety, take 7. It was a 9-point swing. I guess you say 8 because you don't know if they make the extra point, but still. Like in a game like this, like that's a massive swing. It's a heartbreaker, but you still were fighting. You were still in it. So if you're Colts, like you're not down. It's just you feel like you let one get away. And the Colts looked really good on offense. And then their defense, like if they could figure out how to shut down Puka, like you feel like that would have given them a way better chance. But at the same time, not many teams have figured out how to shut Puka down. So what can you really honestly do? Like I still think both of these teams are playoff teams. And like I said, I don't walk away from this feeling any differently about either one of these teams.
I agree with that. I'm respecting the Colts a little bit more. I still think the Rams' ceiling is higher. I don't think the Colts can win 4 games against great teams in the playoffs. And I think the Rams are a legit contender. And that's why the Rams blew out the Eagles last. Oh, wait, they actually lost, even though they're up 19? Yeah. I mean, they are stoppable. Let's take a little mental break for a second out there. If you're Mitchell, there's the mental aspect of like you have to overcome like, how did I do something this dumb? Like he's probably never done that in his career. You know how I know that? Because they probably would have got the highlight package of it if he ever had. Secondly, what do you do for your teammates? Like, yes, you're holding people accountable. Like they're trying to cheer them up, but like, I mean, we've never been in the NFL. You've never been a receiver that done that. What are you doing if you're Mitchell? Like, what are you
getting
telling
new
your
gloves?
Oh,
Those
you're blaming
Adidas gloves are apparently too slick.
So you're just blaming the equipment. No accountability. Got it. That's why you would have been a receiver, diva. I feel like he needs to personally, like he might need to handwrite a note to every single person on the team just saying, I'm sorry, I got you, won't happen again. Like, he needs to take the offense.
He took accountability after the game in a post-game interview. He owned up to it. And then he also said like he was just shocked, like when it was like in the process of happening, like he was just like didn't know what was happening. And then it was like, it's too late. I didn't recover it.
Yeah, imagine if he said like, well, I just need to get better gloves. I mean, imagine that.
I would have loved it, honestly.
I just feel like it's not.
They would have got him new gloves immediately if he would have said that. Fans would have been sending him all in.
I think he got sent a lot of stuff from fans, probably. Not good. All right, Alexander, let's talk about probably the standout game of the week in maybe a negative way. Well, no, there's another one after this. But that is the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs, a game we both took. We took the bait. We read it wrong. We trusted this is one of those where people would call us casuals and they'd be right. The Ravens, whose offense for 3 weeks has looked great. Henry's had some fumbling problems. Don't think he had a fumble in this one, so I guess good job by him, even though he quit and didn't play the rest of the game.
That wasn't
the Henry. Chiefs. What?
Henry didn't quit.
Basically.
Lamar quit.
I'm just saying, with Justice Hill's getting huge touchdowns at the end of the game, and I could have won with Henry scoring. Anyways, the Chiefs scored 37, which is not a sentence you thought you'd hear me say. Alexander, I think both of these teams you view in very different like ceilings. I feel like we just keep having the same conversation about the Ravens, except now it sounds worse. They're 1-3, and their defense can't stop like a runny nose. And I don't know if you want to spend more time on the Ravens or Chiefs. It feels like we're going to focus more on the Ravens because they were the ones that got humiliated, I think is a fair word to say. Or against Kansas City again, just so he can't do it. I don't know, Alexander. Is it too early to give up on the Ravens? How out are you on the Ravens? How in are you on the Chiefs? What do you think about this game?
As far as the Chiefs, I touched on it when I gave my spill with the Chargers. We need to just learn, and I'm bad about it. Like, I felt like they were weaker than they had been ever. Felt like this was the year where we can finally shut down the Chiefs are a dynasty. Like, it felt like the wheels were falling off. The rust was showing. Like, felt like the little bit of smoke coming out the tailpipes. Like, it felt like the wagon was about to, just break down. And they're just a winning team and they just know how to win. And it's time to just respect that. Like, they are nowhere near what they can be on the season. They're only going to get better. And
Mhm.
a game like this to me is a huge statement game. And I'm now fully convinced. I don't care what anybody in the AFC does. The Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl and representing the AFC. Like, that's my takeaway for the Chiefs. And for the Ravens, my takeaway, we kind of touched on it multiple times. The part that was scaring us about the Ravens was their defense. It has not looked good. It's looked like Swiss cheese, and it was supposed to be this good defense. I get they have key injuries. I get that. But it looks bad. And you can't use the injury thing when the Chiefs are dealing with injuries on offense. They're not their full offense. Your defense, you still have one of your best players out there in Kyle Hamilton, and he does not look good this year. He looks bad. He keeps getting cooked on certain plays. Like, maybe he's trying to do too much to cover up other people's stuff. I don't know. It just does not look good. Marlon Humphrey looks slow on certain plays. Like, this defense looks bad. The offense, as great as it has looked, Spags made it look like it was nothing to be afraid of. He contained them. They did whatever they wanted on defense to him. And if I'm the Ravens, that was a reality slap in the face. I think starting 1-2 should have already been semi-won, but you felt like maybe we should have won the other two, shake it off. No, this was your wake-up call. And if you don't wake up, you're going to lose this division. And I think you can still squeak in as a wild card, but the division might start getting out of hand because the Steelers are doing what they need to do. And right now, if these two teams play, I don't know when they play on the schedule, but I would be leaning the Steelers because I do not think the Ravens defense is going to do enough to rattle Rodgers and stop the Steelers offense from just doing what they want. And that's saying a lot because I do not think the Steelers offense is elite. And I had the Ravens in my Super Bowl. I had them representing the AFC. Right now, this looks like the same Ravens team that we talk about every year. Thought this was supposed to be different. I thought they've learned. You know what? There's one thing I've learned so far about the AFC. Nothing's changed in the AFC. The AFC still runs through Kansas City. All the other
Okay.
teams still have their same bad habits, and none of them have learned. They haven't fixed it. And congrats to Kansas City on winning the AFC and representing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into the hot take culture right now. I mean, the Chargers have already beat the Chiefs this year for the record. Yeah, there's like a lot of different aspects of this I would love to discuss, and that's what makes it so difficult. So I'm gonna save some for the preview when we talk about the Ravens again. I think maybe Lamar is not as elusive right now. I don't know if there's something nagging him, and maybe that's why he, didn't return because maybe his hamstring already was a little tight and it just felt it a little more. I don't know.
How tight
But
was it? The training staff didn't come
he
over
just
immediately and check on the guy.
But the point is, we saw the Lions game. We saw that, there's several times where he's just not escaping where he normally would. They are still minus 180, and the Steelers are plus 200. So if you like that juice on the Steelers side, we're looking right now in real time, and I'm not going to. So that just tells how it is. I was talking to a Steelers fan today, and I was like, so are you starting to think division now? And he's like, no, the Ravens are still winning this. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, we're just not, the Steelers just still aren't really good. They're just playing better than the teams they're currently playing. And I thought it was pretty fair and logical for a Steelers fan. So I'm not basing it all on that, but I am just basing Steelers belief. Good for the Ravens. I mean, we talked about earlier with Burrow, good for the Ravens. They probably still are going to be okay, but that defense is concerning. Now, the thing I did disagree with you on the most, they do have a plethora of injuries. I don't know how long they're out or how bad they're injured, but when they start piling up, that's when the losses really start piling up. And you'd say we thought it was different. Last year was the season that was different for the Ravens. That's when they were supposed to do it. And that's what I was nervous about. If you go back to our postseason Like, we were talking, listen, man, like, sometimes windows are tricky, and you still have Lamar, so you have a chance, but this variation of the Ravens last year was their best chance to make it, and they didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not done with the Chargers, though. Crazy to say nothing's changed. All right. All right, Alexander. This is a little long one. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Next game, we had a crazy back and forth. Bears-Raiders. Bears end up on top 25-24 with blocking a field goal to save the game at the end. Geno looked really bad with turnovers, but got good involvement from Genty in the passing game. Thornton, a couple bad plays. Trey Tucker is good, not great. Jacoby Myers, weird ensemble from there. Brock Bowers clearly is still hurt. He is not himself. I don't know when he's going to be okay.
He still has a bionic leg. Like, obviously, he's still hurt.
But he's supposed to wear that to treat it more normal. Like, he looks like he's just a good tight end, and he's supposed to be elite. Point is, I don't trust their pass catchers. I don't trust this team. Caleb Williams is one of the most frustrating humans I've ever watched. I was watching this game with somebody who believes in Caleb Williams a lot.
No, that was not me.
Oh, really? I didn't know. And Caleb Williams is just like, he's going to try to do too much. He's going to extend plays. He's going to make a perfect pass all the way down the sideline every game. It's like, how did he do that? And then 4 of the next 5 passes are just nowhere close, and you don't know what he's doing. He is so up and down, but he seems to, I wouldn't say consistent, but he seems to have a little more rhythm at times. Ben Johnson, listen, you all 22 people, come for me, show me. I did not go back and rewatch every snap of this. I wanted to watch more of the Bears' offensive snaps again. He called a horrible game, or else they can't block one, or a mixture. I don't know. This was awful. They deserve to lose this game. The Raiders are just worse. Both of these teams are dead. Neither are making the playoffs. I don't care about the Bears getting hot narrative. It's over. Both these teams are dead. Cook them. Done with both. Don't care to discuss them much anymore, Alexander. If you have anything else you want to say, I know you want to praise Caleb, so I'll let you do that.
I just want to praise the Raiders. You finally got Genty going. But I'm going back to what I've been saying the whole pod. Nothing's changed. These teams are still the same teams. They literally have new names, new faces. Like, everything's supposed to be different. We got younger people in here. But both of these teams still look like the same teams they've been. Bears find ways to either lose or win a tight one. Raiders find ways to make it look competitive, sneak out one. Like, literally, they feel like they're the same team, just on opposite, conferences. And
if Geno doesn't throw 3 picks, they win this game.
It felt like it was a game where if you're the Bears and you believe in them, and me as someone who didn't believe in the Bears, I felt like the Bears were going to beat the Raiders. Yes, they beat them, but it was not pretty. It was way closer. And if you're a Raiders fan, you probably felt like you were pretty confident in beating the Bears. And then it was still an ugly one. And it's just like, these two teams do not know how to get out of their own way. You think it was the old coaches, but it's not, because it's still there. At this point, it seems like it's the culture with these teams.
Just the laundry, just the jerseys make you play a certain way?
Yes. Like, at this point, there's like a stench on them. Like, it's just like a curse that's there, and it's not going to get broken. Like, I guess the narrative we need to talk about is Geno and domes isn't a thing anymore. Like, that narrative's gone. Maybe he saw it in the offseason and wrote back to it. I don't know, but it's gone. It's done. And it just wasn't pretty. If I'm a fan of either one of these teams, not feeling great at all. If you're the Bears, I guess you feel a little bit better, because end of the day, a win's a win. It just wasn't not a pretty win. And you kind of touched on it. Like, the offense didn't look that great. It certain times looked great, but then certain places, like, what are we even running? Like, what is this? And for the Raiders, like, when you got Genty going, it's like, okay, like, we got something. And then you brought Geno in. He's supposed to be a veteran. Like, he's supposed to, in situations like this, not lose you the game. And it felt like he lost you the game. But at the same time, Bowers does not look good. Myers did not get going. Like, it almost felt like it was Genty was the only thing really going for him. That was positive. So, I don't know. It was a weird game. But yeah, that's my take on that. They're the same old teams. Nothing's changed.
I agree, but I think if you're a Bears fan, the thing is different, and I didn't really agree with you on is, you said they find ways to lose or win close games. They usually just find ways to lose. So maybe the Bears are just thinking, hey, it's different. This is usually a game we lose. Like,
usually that field goal goes in, or they're the one getting theirs blocked.
Yeah, or double doink. All right, Alexander. I mean, we've been here for a while, and thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah, sorry
This
for all
is
our rants.
Listen, man. Anybody listening to this still, thank you. Don't know why you still are, honestly. But we got to talk Cowboys, Packers. I am fine fast forwarding to the end of the game unless there's something you want to say about the first 3.5 quarters. Back and forth, offenses galore, points. CeeDee Lamb is out. George Pickens takes number 1 spot. He's catching play after play late in the game. Look, I don't like the Cowboys. This whole Dak thing is dumb. I'm meaning the national media today comparing him to the top 5 quarterbacks. Anyways, he was great last night. The Packers defense looked abysmal, but Dak was hitting spots. It gets to the end of the game. It somehow ends up, it looks like the Cowboys may win. Packers lead the drive. It's tied. It's tied again. We go to overtime. Cowboys get the ball. They go down. They're about to score. They get stopped. They kick a field goal. So now they get a possession. And then the announcers start talking about how they love the new overtime rules because they get a field goal. I mean, that hasn't been an overtime rule forever. I don't know what they were talking about. Like, the only difference is if they get a touchdown, you get a possession. Anyways, that really bothered me, if you can't tell. Packers get the ball, go down. Alexander, how are there NFL teams, billion-dollar corporations of a billion-dollar industry, that do not have any end-of-game game management? They seem completely clueless, time and time again. They barely get the playoff. They spike it so that it gets to be third down. I mean, they don't spike it. They can't spike it because then it would be third down, and then they don't have time to do another play. So with, I don't remember the exact time, 6, 7 seconds, something like that. You're welcome to everybody that just heard that. But Jordan Love throws it, tries to hit goal in the end zone. There's 1 second on the clock. The Packers literally almost ran out of time and couldn't even attempt the field goal. Like, if anything, you kick it with a second left. They went for it. I mean, yeah, it would have been an incredible clip, but I mean, they messed up that end of game sequence with timeouts, not timeouts, getting to the ball, snapping it, where they throw it. That was seriously one of the worst end of game references. Well, my dog's on the pod. What's up, Sydney? Sydney Brown touchdown this week for the Eagles. It was one of the worst game managements I've ever seen at the end, and it somehow didn't cost them. And then Dak in the post game is like, yeah, 1 second on the clock, kind of funny, right? It's like, okay, like, yeah, that's what we're doing here. That's the guy y'all praise. But Alexander, this was, to me, a more glaring thing of the Packers. They should not be getting the praise they were after 2 weeks of this dominant force that's going to run the NFC. And they're 2-1-1.
Giving off
And
Saint vibes.
And they don't seem like they're like going to be able to take that step, because there's players, and I've been thinking about this a long time. There's certain players we see early in their career who they are, and we try to deny it and say they can grow, they can mature. And sure, sometimes that happens. But more often than not, they're who they are. We saw Jordan Love in the playoffs 2 years ago, where he tries to throw across his body just the worst interception and how they lose. That's who he is. He doesn't have that mature, poised takeover. I'm going to do this. We see how, I'm saying elite. We see how elite his ceiling is, and we see how bottom his floor is. He's never going to change. He's never going to figure it out. This Packers team, I don't have trust in them. And it's week 4. Am I overreacting? I don't know. But I'm being genuine. I don't trust him in a late game situation, in a game situation. I have no faith in this Packers unit to do what's right when it matters. And unless they're blowing you out, I don't know. And the very last thing, this whole like we're going to buy into Matthew Golden thing, I tried to tempt you into taking the touchdown. You didn't wisely. He's not a true number 1 receiver either. He doesn't have that mentality. He's just going to be a big player buzz. Love finds Dobb 3 times. He gets a hat trick, the huge hat trick. This game was so absolutely out of its mind that I left it just saying the Cowboys are bad and their offense is good. Their defense is horrible, and the Packers can't be trusted. This, to me, just demoted the Packers. I'm going to let you go for a second. I got to let the dog out. I don't know why that she just came in here, but you can talk, bro.
Yeah, so this game was wonky. You touched on it. I don't believe in the Packers. It kind of feels like something I keep saying, but Packers feel like the same old Packers. And it just, they're very starting to give off Saint vibes. I think it was last year where the Saints started out hot. They were dominating teams. Like, everybody was like, are the Saints going to win the Super Bowl? And then the wheels just fell off. They came back to earth. They came crashing back to earth. And that's kind of how it's starting to feel with the Packers. Like, their defense was looking great. Like, they contained the Lions. Now I'm starting to wonder, maybe it was just the Lions. Like, they just had to figure some stuff out. Like, it really had nothing to do with the Packers. It was just the Lions week 1 were not fully prepared yet with their new OC. It wasn't clicking yet.
Well, I think the Packers need a full off season to prepare for a game so they don't mess it up.
But then, like, I still do not understand how intentional grounding is not called. To me, that changes this game completely. But then I need to look this up. And if any of y'all watching this know or that are still watching it, leave a comment, like, so I know.
Also, call somebody, get a friend. Why are you watching this right now?
I thought that with the new overtime rules, each team gets a possession. So if each team's getting a possession, does the time still matter? Like, is that why they weren't rushing for time, but then they were because they didn't know? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like in the playoffs, like, the time doesn't matter. Like, it would just go to a next overtime so they could finish out their drive. I don't know. That's just kind of, I guess, how it feels. Like, it feels like that's one of those things where it's a difference in it, and that's maybe the difference. But because it makes no sense to me, because if that's the case, just if you got an offense and you're able to just literally milk the clock, run all the clock out, score, kick the ball off, and then they have little time to get all the way down the field. And
I mean,
then
if you
it's
can do that, you would
basically
do it.
kind of the same rules that they were trying to do away with. That's why I feel like there's no way like the time is a factor or should be, because that's almost where it felt like it changed and they ended up kicking a field goal because the time became a factor. Like if the time wasn't a factor, I think they run that whole sequence completely different. And there's a good chance they score a touchdown instead of kicking a field goal because
I
it seemed like they
understand
started panicking because of the time.
They
And that's
panic
where
'cause they
like
didn't know
I
what
need
to do.
to, like, I'm going to look it up and I'll look it up before next week. But if somebody watching it knows it, like comment it. But
You're saying they should be guaranteed a full possession until they either stop or get scored.
yes,
Okay,
especially
maybe
the
so.
second possession.
Right. Again, we can do a whole segment on overtime. Your argument of they can just run the whole clock out and score. Well, if they can do that, then they would do it in the regular game. Very rarely does that happen.
I'm just thinking like last year, for instance, like Philly could just run on people at will. A lot of times in the fourth quarter last year, like we could milk time like nobody else and just put a game away in basically one drive almost in the fourth quarter. Just milk the whole clock.
But we would just kick off in overtime, stop them. They wouldn't score and we'd score and be over.
But what I'm saying is like if you're a team and you could do that, like basically Dallas milked almost the whole clock.
But the Packers chose to kick it. So like don't
That's
let
what
them
I'm
do that then.
saying. Why would you choose to kick it if time can become a factor?
You should definitely choose to kick it because then you don't trust your defense at all.
What do you mean? Just go out there and put the points up. Score first.
We're just not going to agree on that. I like getting a second. You know what you need. You know if you need a field goal or not.
I just don't like the time.
Overtime later.
The whole point of that is I don't like the fact that time can become a factor in an overtime where it's set up where both teams should have possessions.
I don't think you're
especially
making
if you're shorting, you're short, like the overtime period is shorter. Like I get it shorter if like neither team scores on the first two. I get that.
I don't think you're making a terrible point here, but regardless, that's the way it is, and the Packers almost blew the entire game.
Yeah, but yeah, my takeaway is I lost belief in the Packers, and Cowboys are still who I think they are. Like I still think their offense is a great offense and can compete, and I think their defense is Swiss cheese, and that's why I don't think they are going to win the division. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but that's why I had them finishing second in their division because I think their offense is going to do just enough to win enough games.
Great offenses.
Okay, not great, but it's still a very good
I mean,
offense.
if people are looking at worse, yeah. I mean, it's college though. If you have a terrible defense, you're going to have to score more. But whatever.
It did seem like college at times. Both these teams run a lot of screens. It was very weird.
It seemed like college on a Saturday middle afternoon, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock for Jordan Love on the last possession. He had no clear where he was. He woke up in somebody else's yard. He's like, well, I don't even go to this school. That's what it seemed like for him. What were they doing? All right, we just watched some Monday night games, Alexander. We usually don't always recap these, but we had Jets, Dolphins. Dolphins win 27-21. Dolphins look okay.
I think it's season ending.
Yeah, Dr. Walker over here is calling it season ending. I'm calling it career ending. I don't think he ever plays another snap in the NFL. I mean, dead serious. Take the over, but I'll take the under on that. Jets look lethargic. Fields becomes electric. They fight back, and just Garrett Wilson, catch of the year nominee so far. Too little, too late. Touchdown. And Alexander, do you have any takeaways from these two teams? I talk about feeling the same about two teams. I feel exactly the same about both these teams, except a little less on the Dolphins now. I guess Waddle stock up in fantasy, but
yeah. both of these teams, like, they feel like they're the same teams of old. If you're a Jets fan, at a certain point, you got to start questioning, why are y'all so undisciplined? Like, it is insane how undisciplined and the multiple fumbles that happen at the most inopportune times for them, like constantly, the constant, like, just stupid penalties they're getting. Like, granted, I was watching the game and there's a lot of penalties that should have been called on the Dolphins that weren't getting called. So I am with you, the Jets fans that are like, well, it's basically all just one sided. And then the ones that are going to say, well, you look at the yards, like it's not. No, some of those are makeup calls. That's the refs trying to make it look like it's not as one sided as it is. But at the same
There was
time, you got to be disciplined. You keep making the same boneheaded, like silly false starts, the illegal motions, like what are
legal
we doing?
man downfield.
Legal man
There were
downfield. Like,
2 times, though. I hate being anti-ref person, but there was 2 times where even the announcers and the guy in the booth are like, "Yeah, this is definitely a penalty, but these should be offsetting." I'm not sure why they didn't call it on the Dolphins guy doing the same thing.
and then like I'm starting to feel bad for like Fields.
Oh,
It
here we go.
seems like the refs like literally just view him because of how he's built, and it's kind of the same situation of when Cam was in the league. He just was like treated completely different. He was able to get thrown down at times, like in this game multiple times. Fields like is clearly out of bounds, and the defender does extra stuff and throws him down harder out of bounds. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, how's that not a penalty? If that's almost half the quarterbacks in the league, that's a flag immediately. And then the refs are just coming over there, just separating them. Like, nah, like that's not a flag. Like, what do you mean that's not a flag? Like, you call that if you're reffing probably any other quarterback in the league. It's almost like all the refs, like before the season, were like, hey, let's place a bet on Fields getting hurt, and we're going to encourage this. Like, we're going to let him just get hit extra after the plays and stuff.
It's late night, people. I want to let y'all know that. He hasn't had a lot of sleep. His oxygen levels are low. He's a Justin Fields enthusiast. I mean, dude, you're saying some crazy stuff. And you said he's built
It's
like
not
Cam.
crazy.
By the way, I just saw a tweet from Cam Newton, speaking of, and he said, after this incredible performance tonight, Tua Tagovailoa, you can't deny he's better than Jalen Hurts. That's the guy you're defending, bro. He didn't. Full disclaimer, he didn't actually say that. He probably did, though. Probably will lead tomorrow. Just keep saying Jalen Hurts' name, buddy. It'll get you more views than anything else you talk about. Remember your take about how baseball is dying and the WNBA is going to take over? You idiot. Sorry.
Yeah, it just...
Cool hats, though. Your hair sticks out the top.
If you're the Jets, and I felt like bringing in the head coach y'all brought in, and Glenn, was the right move. It seemed like it was going to be the type of coach you needed to clean up all the like silly miscues that constantly were happening the year before. And it's just happening again. And then like
Dude,
not protecting the ball. It's just the stupid penalty. Like, just like on the one where Tua slides and then the dude hits him forearm clearly to the head. Like, what are we doing?
You might be
Especially
right.
on that type of a quarterback where he's probably even more protected because they're scared he's concussion from actually dying on the field. Like,
dude, you might be right about the laundry. They just can't help themselves.
It's just bad.
They get to the South and they're like, wait, what happened? It's like the inverse of the Monstars where like they just make them do bad stuff. Alexander, do you think the Jets should have hired Rex Ryan? He seems to be the only one. He really was campaigning hard for himself. Maybe they needed discipline. Is that the only way to fix the Jets?
Bring him in as a like defensive or some type of role. Just bring him in. Let him just chew people out. Apparently Glenn isn't doing it. He's not chewing out the right people, and obviously getting in their face and letting them know, like, you got to stop the boneheaded stuff. And then if you're Miami, like...
Justin Fields would be benched in 2 games. Rex Ryan asked the backup quarterback for a picture of his wife's feet, and then, all right, sorry. It's late night.
If you're Miami, felt like in the... before Hill went out was... offense felt like it was finally getting close to what we were used to seeing. Looked like things were starting to look good. And then Hill out for the season probably. Correct. You're saying career ending.
Correct.
And it's just like, it feels like for Miami, nothing can go right. Everything just goes wrong. And then the Jets just can't get out of their way, which feels like what we would have said last year. So again, nothing has changed besides the NFL is now soft, unless they're reffing certain teams.
Wait, weren't you just saying that they should be calling more penalties on your little Justin Fields pretty boy?
I'm saying if you're going to call it that way, you got to call it equally. That's my biggest
Truthfully,
issue
dude,
with the refs. Like, if you're going to
truthfully,
call it one way, you got to call it another way.
yeah,
Just
but
like
you
the
brought Cam Newton into it.
Garrett
So,
Wilson OPI.
oh,
Did
yeah, I
he
was
extend the arm? Yes.
Did
Was
he?
it egregious? No. We've seen way worse not get called. Go back. Watch freaking Devontae Adams against Philly. Full arm, stiff arm. You can see the player like buck from the stiff arm to extend itself out for a clear opening of the catch. No call.
Alexander, I'm gonna
Refs
give you
weren't even
homework.
considering calling it.
I'm giving you homework.
What?
I need you to give some different examples that don't involve Justin Fields or the Eagles. It seems like you're just a very biased like watcher.
It's not just there. You can watch it across the league.
I know you can.
It
That's
was
why
a
it's your
weak
homework next week.
OPI.
Next week, we're gonna have a segment called "Where the Refs Got It Wrong" with Alexander, and I'm just gonna let you go. And you cannot include anything from Eagles or Jets games. Right. Last game
Granted,
of the week.
I don't watch Jets games that close. It's just this was a prime time. Like it was the only thing on the
Yes,
screen.
you do. That's just not
I
true.
don't watch it that close. Like
You didn't last week because it was Tyrod Taylor. You watched just all right. Now this is crazy. He's really gaslighting, saying he
I
doesn't
just
watch.
tune in to watch Justin Fields. Yes, you're
Your
correct.
wife literally told
I
me.
love
She
watching
said, "Hey,
Justin Fields.
why
It's electric."
is Alexander watching your brother on YouTube?" I'm like, I have no clue. She's like, "Oh, it's Justin Fields. Never mind." Apparently, you're just watching highlight tapes every afternoon.
He's just electric at times. So
Well, it's one
entertaining.
tape. There's not that many plays. It's just him running around the field.
Like that touchdown, that was electric.
Yeah, it
I
was
want more of that.
Yeah, they do too. And I actually liked how they committed to running, even when it made no sense. Like, we're gonna just keep running the ball.
But
We
that's
don't
what
care.
works. Run the ball, play
It doesn't work
action.
on 3rd and
That's
8 when you can. Okay, we're not okay. Last game of the week, Bengals Broncos. I guess I took the opposite of bait, anti-bait. I
you
thought the
really
Broncos
frosted
would win.
yourself in this one.
Well, why was the line not bigger than 7.5?
Because Denver kind of showed it. They only put up 28. They're
The
not
Bengals
fully
can't-
clicking.
The Bengals can't score 21 points. I'm serious, dude. Pat Surtain, I mean, Jamar Chase is going to be like, yeah, well, I didn't have Joe Burrow. But Pat Surtain's like, listen, there was like 2 times you were even slightly open all game. And when it's downfield, he don't care. He's not wasting his time. Nice cardio tonight, Jamar Chase. He absolutely locked you down in every which way. What a clinic by the Broncos defense. Bo Nix, that's how I feel about Bo Nix. You can play that noise every time. It actually sounded like a Bronco that was like not wanting to race, but they were forcing him to.
You want to know my opinion on Bo Nix?
Let me guess. Not as good as Justin Fields.
He is starting to give me Jordan Love vibes. He has those moments where it's like, oh my gosh, like if he could do this every time, this is amazing. And then he has those moments where it's like, what did I just watch? Like this can't be the same quarterback that just made that play. Like it makes no sense, like how all over the place he can be.
They're like Caleb Williams, but like angry.
Yes.
Okay, they're angry Caleb Williams. It's a Venn diagram. Missing throws and making great throws. Bo Nix, Jordan Love, and Caleb Williams.
And
who would you rather have, Bo Nix or Jordan Love?
Are we talking in their situation?
No, that's what team do you think's better. You have to pick one of them the rest of their careers for any team.
Jordan Love. I just think he's a better talented or has a higher talent, I guess. I don't know.
I only asked the question because you were saying it reminded you of it. I was like, yeah, but like he's just a lesser version.
I wanted to say poor man's version of Jordan Love, but then I feel like that was an insult. I feel like that was too extreme.
Call Bo Nix poor? That's probably too extreme. I mean, he probably made more money one season at Oregon than we'll probably make like 20 years from now.
Yeah, it's just if you're the Broncos, you got the win. The run game looked good. You started mixing in the rookie and Harvey. That was promising. You got Ingram back. You mixed him a little bit in, but you just want Bo Nix to just settle down a little bit. And I feel like if he settled down just a little bit, gets out of his own way at times, the Broncos have a chance to compete for this division.
You can't.
But the problem is, I don't think he can. And at the same time, he's in a division with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are winning this division. That's not changed. It's not going to change. The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. That's how I'm ending this freaking long day, week 4 NFL review.
Yeah, crazy we went so long. We promise this will be the longest recap we have all year.
I just needed a vent. It was the most wild week.
Yeah, a lot of people were frustrated this week. I feel like I do have one stat to share to end it. So you tell me when you're ready and I'll share it at the end.
All right, let's go.
It's been over 365 days by the time you're hearing this since Jalen Hurts last lost a football game that he started and ended. Only loss that his team has had at all is when he left the game early with injury and we had the lead. So, yeah. So, who's better, Cam? All right.
Got any other final thoughts?
Yeah, but
Share.
I ain't saying them. Dude, no, we got it. We have to get out of here. It's 4:50 a.m., bro. It is.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Not realistic. It's 3:59, so we're closed.
So no final
I
thoughts.
feel like there's something you're wanting me to say.
No, I mean, you ain't got final thoughts. I'll say my final thought and wrap it up.
Well, shouts out Jake Browning. Got my boy Chase Brown the extra receiving yards he need. I hit a massive Monday night parlay. So, yeah, got my
Respect.
parents a lot of money. Just really trying to become the best son in the family. And
Yeah,
apparently you're watching my brother on YouTube, so.
Just wish you would have sent it to me. I mean, it's cool. I guess it stems back to last week when I said that I liked your brother better than you.
I think it stems back to you've been saying you hate football all week, and I was betting against the Jets, and Tua to have 2 touchdowns. And
Believe Tua
nothing.
would have 2 touchdowns.
I like how you're mad at me. Like, I don't know. It just was in my head.
But with all that said, we're rolling out of here finally. We're wrapping it up. I'm going to just leave y'all with one piece of advice, and it is don't stop believing in the Chiefs. Chiefs are who they are. The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, and I'm out. On that note, wrap it up. Hit the end button. We're out of here.
Chiefs are not going to Super Bowl, but Eagles are going undefeated this year. All right, see ya.
God almighty.